Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The political storm over the inauguration of the new Parliament building continues to escalate. 20 opposition parties, including the Congress, the TMC, Aam Aadmi Party and the BRS, have decided to boycott the inauguration Sunday. The opposition parties released a joint statement accusing the centre of sidelining and insulting the president, demanding that the new Parliament building be unveiled by the first citizen. The new building is a symbol of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It truly reflects the spirit of modern India. Calls for modernising Parliament were made during the UPA era as well. But from attacks over the expenditure and then a jibe on this being a vanity project, the opposition has been constantly moving the goalpost. And now the latest happens to be that of protocol. Is national pride being politicised by the opposition? After all, this is a parliament not just for the ruling party of the current dispensation. This is a parliament for democracy, a parliament for the people, a parliament for the ruling and the opposition party.
20 opposition parties have decided to boycott the inauguration of the new Parliament building on the 28th of May. They claim it's a breach of parliamentary propriety that Prime Minister Modi is unveiling the new Parliament instead of President Draupadi Murmu.
First item that is taken up for consideration by the Parliament every year is the motion of thanks to the President of India. So President is the head of the Parliament. We are committed to the Constitution of India and we are committed to safeguarding it. That is the signal. Well, the government and the Prime Minister is committed to destroying the Constitution of India.
The Aam Aadmi Party and the Trinamool Congress were the first to announce that they will stay away from the ceremony.
TMC has decided to boycott the inauguration of the new Parliament by Narendra Modi. Our main reason is the neglect of the President. The other thing is we feel that Narendra Modi is using this inauguration as a bid to promote himself, his own personal image. Not even the Vice President's name. Vice President is the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He is mentioned in the card.
Later, the Congress and 18 opposition parties signed a joint declaration announcing that they will boycott the inauguration.
Prime Minister is the leader of the Lok Sabha only. Rajya Sabha, Piyush Goyal is the leader. So who is the main leader? Main leader is Rashtrapati.
Home Minister Amit Shah urged the opposition not to politicize the inauguration of the new Parliament building.
हमने तो भारत सरकार ने सबको विनंती किया है कि आप उपस्थित रहिए, सब अपनी अपनी भावना के अनुसार करेंगे.
The BJP stand is that while the President is the head of state, it is the Prime Minister who is the head of government and leads the Parliament on behalf of the government. That's why it's only fitting that he should inaugurate the new building.
पहले इनकी पार्लियामेंट की कार्रवाई के बाइकाट की सनद अब पार्लियामेंट के बहिष्कार की साजिश में बदल गई है. इससे आप अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि इनका लोकतंत्र के प्रति, इनका संविधान के प्रति, इनके संसदीय मूल्यों और मर्यादाओं के प्रति कितनी प्रतिबद्धता है. या तो ये समझ गए हैं कि 2024 में शून्य बटे सन्नाटा होने वाले हैं, तो इसलिए जो है पहले से तैयारी कर लो कि संसद के बाहर ही बैठो.
Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone for the new Parliament building in 2020. At that point of time as well, Congress and several other opposition parties stayed away from the ceremony, questioning its timing since the pandemic was raging and the country was experiencing economic distress due to the COVID lockdown. Amid the boycott calls this time around, the BJP pointed out that in 1975, Indira Gandhi had inaugurated the Parliament Annex. And in 1987, Rajiv Gandhi laid the foundation of the Parliament Library. So is it about propriety or pure politics?
Okay, so let me open this up to our panelists who are joining us. We've got a full-fledged panel of senior spokespersons and members of parliament joining us. Professor Rakesh Sinha is Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the BJP. Sushmita Dev is Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the TMC. Krishna is spokesperson of the YSR Congress, one of the opposition parties that's actually supporting this move. And Rohan Gupta, national spokesperson of the Congress, will also be joining us. Professor Rakesh Sinha, the contention made by opposition parties, and 20 of them, not one or two, but 20 opposition parties have signed a joint letter saying that they are going to boycott the inauguration. They are saying this is an insult to the first tribal woman president. That the president is the head of the state, should be the one who is inaugurating this, not the prime minister who is the head of the government or the ruling party, but it's the head of the state who should be doing this.
You know, they are fighting against the Indian constitution. They are fighting against the parliamentary democracy. And they are fighting against the great tradition of this country. They are making everything controversial, basically constitutional offices are being made controversial by the opposition party, I'm asking a question. Why they have boycotted the president's address in the parliament? They have to answer to the nation. At every time they created a controversy against the presidential office by boycotting the speeches. I'm asking the question that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is leading a grand desire, a grand movement and campaign against that is decolonization of Indian mind. And it is surprising. There is a coincidence of commonality between Narendra Modi ji and Franz Fanon. Although he was a Marxist, Narendra Modi is a nationalist. There is a great compatibility between the two. Franz Fanon said that without eliminating every structure of the colonial period, which is a symbol of this sovereignty, you cannot create the decolonized state. And Prime Minister has done a great job. Second important thing is that when Prime Minister is inaugurating, opposition, I am reminding the opposition party, in 1975, Indira Gandhi inaugurated the parliament annexing. Then Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad was the Prime Minister. Should I ask that it was the insult of the Muslim Prime Minister? You are categorizing the presidential position as a tribal, as a Muslim. When Murmu became the presidential candidate, you just see the reaction of the opposition parties. Their reaction was not a positive and constructive. Therefore, I think that this is an opportunism. And that opportunism is against the very, very source of the parliamentary democracy.
Okay, so let me ask Sushmita Dev this. Why this newfound love for Draupadi Murmu? When her candidature was proposed by the BJP, your party did not support it. In fact, you had propped up Mr. Yashwant Sinha as your candidate. When she addressed the first joint session of Parliament, your party had boycotted it. Why are you suddenly showing this new love for India's first tribal woman president? Because you never really, had a role to play in her becoming that.
I find the question very interesting because the debate today is on parliamentary democracy. The key word being democracy. So where the constitution provides that a post can be contested, everybody's democratic right as a party is there to contest that post. And anybody who participates in that election to question their loyalty to the President of India once she's elected is itself an absurdity. And I think Rakesh Sinha ji is a very senior parliamentarian. He understands that. And let me remind him that there was one Purno Sangma ji also, the tribal candidate who had contested for the president's post. And we all know what the BJP did then. So let's not make it about why we contested the presidential post.
Okay.
I think what is important here is the letter that has been issued by 20 parties, because I believe that KCRG is also on board as we speak. I think a couple of hours back in the press meet. We are asking a very pertinent question. We have put behind us the plethora of questions that were raised about the need to make such an ostentatious building when the entire economy was suffering after a huge unprecedented pandemic. Putting all that aside, this is a government that has constantly relegated parliamentary democracy into a dictatorship inside the parliament and outside the parliament. The last session stands testimony where the treasury benches disrupted the parliament. Apart from that, Jaka, if you're a keen observer of Indian politics, you know how bills have been bulldozed, how standing committees have been made absolutely redundant. And now, to camouflage all of that, comes an ostentatious building where Prime Minister Modi wants to tom-tom his commitment towards democracy. But I don't think one can ignore the way Parliament has been, I believe, relegated to nothing.
Okay, no, I want to ask Rohan Gupta.
Just one second, Jaka, just one thing.
Okay.
Just one thing I want to say, that please read the letter of the opposition carefully. We fail to understand that why the President of India has been totally excluded despite the fact that she is the head of the state.
Okay, you made that point. So let me, one second. I want to ask Rohan Gupta. The BJP, yesterday you heard Hardeep Puri, the minister, come out and say that, in 1975 when the Parliament Annexi building was inaugurated, Indira Gandhi, then Prime Minister, inaugurated it. When the Parliament Library building was inaugurated in 1987, the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi inaugurated it. Forget about all this. When the current Parliament building, the existing Parliament building was inaugurated in 1927 by Lord Irwin, who was then the Viceroy of the British government here in India, Jawaharlal Nehru attended that. So Jawaharlal Nehru, who was the first Prime Minister of this country, did not have a problem in attending Lord Irwin's inauguration of the current Parliament building, but the Congress party has a problem attending Mr. Modi's inauguration of the new Parliament building.
No, Zaka. We do not have problem Mr. Modi attending the inauguration of new Parliament. We have problem that first citizen of the country is not invited to this function. We have absolutely no issue with Mr. Prime Minister. But please understand, Zaka, this kind of debate, I am really surprised and amazed why BJP has allowed this debate to happen. Your president is in the country. The lady, a lady from humble background, BJP selected them and she has been elected as the president and she is not invited. This is amazing, Zaka. We are not against Mr. Modi attending this function. We are against President being not called to this function. There is no logic it will justify this. Because Parliament, as you know, it's a soul of our democracy. Obviously, BJP has always killed our soul of the democracy, whether it is free farm laws or whether it is note ban. They have always disrespected democracy. They have always disrespected Parliament. But this is the extreme.
So how do you explain, sir, then in 1975 when Indira Gandhi inaugurated the Annexi building, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, who was the president, was not the one who was inaugurating. In 87, when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi inaugurated the Parliament Library building, then President Venkatraman was not the one who was inaugurating. It was the Prime Minister who was inaugurating. So that was okay.
There is a difference. No, there is a difference between any extension and the main Parliament building. There's two different things. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, he inaugurated the new building of the library. He never inaugurated the Parliament. We are talking, and again, Zaka, let me tell you one thing. This government is in power for 9 years. The president has been elected by this government. It has been candidate of their party. You give me one logic why she should not be invited. Give me one logic.
Okay,
is there any logic?
Rakesh Sinha, please respond, and then I'll go to SR Krishna of the YSRCP, one of the few opposition parties who is actually backing this move and will be joining the inauguration on Sunday. But Rakesh Sinha, please respond. Any explanation for why the president was not invited or was not the person who's inaugurating?
You know, Congress is not in the position to answer the question raised by me and my party. Two questions are very fundamental to this controversy. One, that why Rajiv Gandhi inaugurated a parliamentary library and not the president. Congress has no answer. They say that there is a difference between parliament building and the parliament library. There is a difference between parliament annexing and the parliament building. Then why the president was not called? In fact, India is a parliamentary democracy. In parliamentary democracy, Prime Minister is the head of the, not head of the state, but virtually the executive power is led by the Prime Minister of the country, whether the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru or Prime Minister Modi. So you cannot ignore your own structural system of parliamentary democracy. You go to Britain, you see the parliamentary democracy, how it functions. Not in every function the king and queen is called. Yeah. You go to any part, if you want that, you should plead for the presidential system in the country. Why don't you have a debate of the presidential system in the country rather than going to this debate?
Okay, so let me ask SR Krishna of the YSRCP. You, along with, I believe, BJD and a couple of other opposition parties, regional parties, are going to be part of this inauguration. You have not joined issue with the other opposition parties and not joined this list of 20 opposition parties who are boycotting this particular inauguration that will happen on Sunday. What is the rationale of your party and why are you participating while the other opposition parties are not?
Zaka, we're very, very clear. Our party has taken a stand. Our Chief Minister, Mr. Jagannathan Reddy, has taken a stand that we will be attending the inauguration on May 28th. And we believe that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurating the Parliament is completely fine with us. As the Honourable BJP member who was on the show has said, the Prime Minister is the head of the largest party in Parliament. I think the idea of this new parliamentary building was conceived by BJP, conceived in fact by Mr. Narendra Modi, and implemented by them. So we don't see any problem in this whole affair being inaugurated by Mr. Narendra Modi. In fact, it is a symbol. The new parliament building is a symbol of a resurgent new India, economically strong, self-reliant, which a lot of people have been saying. Okay. And further, also, there's one other point, Jacob, we would like to make. See, every action should have a reasonable reaction, right? Okay, certain parties have stated that, they have a different opinion on who should be inaugurating it. that's fine. It's a free country. Everybody has their opinion. But I don't think it's proper to boycott the inauguration. There's a line we should draw. The parliament belongs to everyone. And, and it is the prime minister that's inaugurating. And I think everybody should attend. It's okay to have a different opinion. That's fine. In a free country, everybody has their own opinions. That's fine. But I think skipping the inauguration and boycotting it is, I think, crossing the line, which is not really required.
So let me ask Sushmita Dev that, this is an inauguration of the Parliament building. The Parliament building has ruling party MPs and opposition MPs. Today, this is the ruling party. Tomorrow, the opposition could be the ruling party, right? And this is a Parliament building, Sushmita Dev, that's going to outlast this current dispensation, the next, and probably the next. It's going to be around for 100 years. Well, why is the opposition not looking at it from a point of view of continuity of Indian democracy? This Parliament building will far outlast Mr. Modi or Ms. Murmu or anyone, any member of Parliament who is currently there in the House. Sushmita Dev.
We agree.
See, this Parliament, why 100 years? It may continue for 500 years.
Yeah.
But I think the point we are making is that the way it has been inaugurated sets a bad precedent, Jaka. And I find it quite amusing that an honourable member of Parliament should compare a library and an annexee to the Parliament House. I mean, it is. I'm quite amused, if you ask me. And I would like to tell my friend who just spoke and said everybody's right to have their view. Remember one thing, Jaka, like you said, one day Mr. Modi will not be there, and believe me, the history will judge the opposition for what they were doing on a day where a bad precedent was being set. Today, the narrative may be different. Today, some parties have the compulsion to stand by Mr. Modi. They have their reasons. We respect it. We don't want to question it. But the fact is, propriety is propriety and impropriety is impropriety. It doesn't matter whether this building stays for another 1,000 years. That is not the question. No,
but you are not worried that history will judge you unkindly, that at a moment of national pride, the TMC and the rest of the opposition were not part of that moment of national pride. You're not worried about that.
No. Let me tell you something. I also found it quite amusing when Prime Minister Modi did a midnight session because he was taxing the people of India. So this is a party of events and PR exercises. Whereas, believe me, if you understand the way Parliament works, Parliament has been turned into a circus and a mockery by this government. And that's the harsh reality.
Okay, Rohan Gupta, the other thing that was outlined today by the Home Minister is that there is something called the Sengol, which was given to the first Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, in 1947 on the eve of independence. The Sengol was some kind of a symbol of the transition of power from the British to independent India. After that, nobody has seen or heard about the Sengol. It was not taken care of. And today, in fact, this coming Sunday, when the new Parliament building gets inaugurated, a bunch of priests, this was apparently part of the Chola dynasty, a bunch of priests from Tamil Nadu will give the Sengol to Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate it, and it will be kept in a prominent place in the new Parliament building. Basically, the Home Minister and the BJP saying that this is yet another example of how the Congress has not valued our own Indian history, including this relic from the Chola dynasty.
See, Zaka, the government which is not respecting the present, precedent, they are talking about all these things. It is not, digestible. The basic issue is, Zaka, the first citizen of the country is not invited to such a big event of the country. Can you digest it? Forget about politics, forget about BJP, forget about Congress. If she is in country and if she is not invited to such a function, how can you digest that?
What about the Sengol? Please respond on the Sengol.
It's a matter of our pride. I cannot comment on anything. The government can do anything, but I would have been happy if this had been handed over to the first citizen of the country rather than Prime Minister. I would have been happier.
But tell me, Rohan, the Lok Sabha Speaker, who is the custodian of the lower house, which is of course the representative of people's mandate and people's democracy, the custodian of the lower house has invited the Prime Minister. What is wrong with that?
Again, if custodian of the Lok Sabha or the Parliament, if he doesn't invite the first citizen of the country, do you feel that is correct? It is government's responsibility. They can definitely request. If they want us to request, we can also request. The speaker is not the person who is out of the country. He is amongst us. He is one of the MPs of BJP. He is a respected citizen of the country. He is the custodian of our parliament. Why he cannot be requested?
No, but the BJP, again, using this example of the Sengol to say that this is yet another example of the Congress discarding Indian history and pride of India.
It is a habit of BJP that they will live in history where they have not contributed anything. They have absolutely no right of being proud because they have never contributed to our democracy or our independence. But at the same time, the president who has been elected by BJP, who has been their presidential candidate, and I really fail to understand how BJP can do this kind of goof up. It's a real big goof up. BJP is now caught. They don't know where to go. How can they put onus on the speaker, Zaka? It is the president, his prime minister is there, the whole government is there. How can they put onus of not inviting the president on the heads, on the shoulder of the speaker?
Professor Rakesh Sinha?
You know, Congress is talking, and as well as TMC is also talking about the respect and dignity of the President of India. I am reminding the recent history of India. When Rajendra Prasad was president, how he was humiliated when he said that he is going to inaugurate a temple in Gujarat. How he was insulted on the question of his uniform civil code and Hindu code bill. Rajendra Prasad was basically humiliated by the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in the Congress. I am reminding about the Gyani Jail Singh. When he stopped the postal bill, entire government made a mockery of Gyani Jail Singh. I am reminding him. Rohan Gupta might not be knowing the name. The person K.K. Tiwari hold a press conference. K.K. Tiwari was a minister in the Rajiv Gandhi cabinet. He hold a press conference against Gyani Jail Singh, the President of India. This family does not respect the constitutional institution. For them, 10 Janpath is the constitution, 10 Janpath is the President's house, 10 Janpath is the Prime Minister's house, and 10 Janpath is the Parliament. India, 140 crore people cannot tolerate the 10 Janpath, this mockery of the great ceremony. And you are talking about the dignity, respect of the President. I'm also reminding how Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad signed the decree on the emergency, proclamation of emergency, and cabinet meeting had taken letter on.
Okay.
Is it not the mockery? When Rahul Gandhi torn out the papers of the cabinet decision. So this Congress party has no respect for the institution. Only thing is that anti-Modism has become anti-parliamentary democracy. Anti-Modism has become akin to anti-BJPism. Prime Minister Modi reminded the opposition party, you oppose the Prime Minister, you oppose BJP, you oppose RSS and the ideology of the but by opposing that, you are
Rohan, the Congress party should not be talking about disrespecting the president, whether it's Fakhruddin Ali. Okay, I've got a piece of breaking news. I'm coming to Rohan in 1 second. This is a piece of breaking news that's coming in. The National Democratic Alliance, the NDA, which is of course the ruling alliance, has now put out a statement. I'm going to read from it. It says that it unequivocally condemns the decision of the opposition political parties to boycott the inauguration of the new parliament building. This act is not merely disrespectful, it is a blatant affront to the democratic ethos and constitutional values of our great nation. Over the past 9 years, these opposition parties have repeatedly shown scant regard for parliamentary procedures. The recent boycott is just another feather in the cap of disregard for democratic processes. Let me ask, get in a word from Sushmita Dev on this. So you have the NDA alliance, which is the ruling alliance, saying that this is utter disregard for the constitutional values and democratic ethos of our great nation.
I mean, obviously the NDA is going to pass a statement saying that this is blasphemous to the Constitution. But I can tell you that if you watch the proceedings of the Parliament, you will see that just like this government uses a bulldozer outside the Parliament, it uses a bulldozer inside the Parliament. We can't debate on price rise. We can't debate on Adani. Our microphones go off. So I think that the NDA has absolutely zero moral authority to question us on constitutional values. And let me tell you, when history is written, these will be the darkest days of the Indian democracy, which is Narendra Modi ji's era and his rule.
Rohan Gupta, isn't it a bit rich when the Congress says President and President's office have been insulted? You know, Rajiv Gandhi and Gyani Jail Singh didn't exactly get along all that well. It's been very well documented by numerous journalists who were covering the Rajiv Gandhi PMO. We had the instance of Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed urgently being pushed to sign the emergency proclamation. There have been numerous instances where Congress was in government and they didn't particularly get along well with the incumbent president at that time.
See, who are you asking?
Rohan, yeah.
Two elected people, whether Prime Minister, President, there can be difference of opinion. I don't deny that. That doesn't mean that you disrespect President. We are talking about the President of the country not being invited to the inauguration of new Parliament. Come on, Zaka, there is a difference. One more thing. Your flash is showing NDA. Where is NDA? They have killed NDA. They have bulldozed NDA. They have bulldozed democracy. There are no parties. The second most biggest party is the stolen Shiv Sela. Where is NDA? Now BJP remembers NDA when 20 party boycotted this thing. Now NDA, after maybe 5 years, I am seeing one highlight where NDA is on the screen of TV screens. Absolutely. So this is the win of the opposition parties. When 20 parties boycotted this, BJP remember of NDA.
So SR Krishna, doesn't it worry you that parties like yourself are in a lone minority, yourself, the BJD, etc., because the rest of the opposition, it's not one or two, it's 20 parties who are on the other side saying that they are boycotting this for proprietary reasons?
Raga, I just want to, first of all, respond to the Honorable TMC member's earlier statement that we are somehow supporting this issue because of some compulsions. Let me point out very clearly that there have been many instances in the past where we have voted against the ruling majority in Parliament, which is the BJP party. So that's not the issue. Here we feel very simply, our situation here is very simple, which is that the Parliament building belongs to the nation. It belongs to all parties. It belongs to the people of the country. And it is okay to have a different opinion on the matter. We are not saying it's not okay. Our opinion is, first of all, that inauguration by the Prime Minister is fine. And secondly, we also respect the other people's opinions. All we are saying is, I don't think it's correct to boycott the inauguration. I think everybody should attend it. And at the same time, they're free to express their opinions. And Jaka, I think we are fine. We believe that it's fine for the Prime Minister to inaugurate, and we're going to stand by that.
So let me ask Professor Rakesh Sinha, as the custodian of the House, as it were, wasn't it easier for the Speaker to say that we are inviting the leaders of all parties in Parliament, Leader of the House in the Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, other leaders of various parliamentary parties in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha, and without having to, say X or Y or Z is inaugurating, that all of these people have been invited. And since the Speaker is the chair of the Lok Sabha and the Vice President is the chair of the Rajya Sabha, they should be the ones who should be inaugurating it. They are the custodians of the respective two houses.
Basic ethos of parliamentary democracy must be understood by everyone. Without Prime Minister, you cannot imagine the parliamentary democracy. As in America, without the President, you cannot imagine the presidential system in America. Therefore, this is an unnecessary controversy created by the opposition parties because they lack any agenda to appear before the people. One very important and significant point here I'm mentioning and I'm asking to the Congress party. What about Gyani Jail Singh? Mockery of Gyani Jail Singh. They have made also mockery of the other presidents. I don't want to name everyone because when Rajendra Prasad was insulted, humiliated by Jawaharlal Nehru, there are several letters. When he went to inaugurate Somnath Temple, Pandit Nehru wrote letter to all the chief ministers not to attend that inauguration. This is a personal initiative by the President of India.
Okay.
Congress party has always considered these institutions as the appendix of the 10th Janpat or the dynasty. And they don't tolerate any person emerging as a visionary. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is not merely a prime minister. Just amending. He can be compared only with Chandragupta Maurya or Vikramaditya. He had transcended by his vision, by his action. He is remaking India. And 140 crore people are behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi. His vision and action is unmatched.
But
with
Professor Saab, the problem in that articulation is that neither Chandragupta Maurya nor Vikramaditya were democratically elected by their respective kingdoms. They were kings, right? By saying or making that analogy, you are saying that our parliamentary democracy has become a kingdom.
No, what is here? It is the values. they cherished. They had created, in their own way, they had created the empire. They had created the Indian system. Here the feeling of Swadeshi is coming from the parliament. Feeling of the decolonization is coming from the new parliament. The feeling of new India is coming from the parliament. Basically,
Mr. Sinha.
Yeah, Sushmita and then Rohan. Yeah. Okay, I got to wrap up.
Just I want to say, Mr. R.K. Sinha is giving such a long argument, but he has not been able to answer. Why have you not invited the President of India? Invite her.
Okay.
Why have you not invited her?
Okay.
आपने राष्ट्रपति जी को इनवाइट क्यों नहीं किया? इसका जवाब तो दीजिए व्यूअर्स को. आप यही बोल नहीं पा रहे.
No.
जब प्रधानमंत्री इनॉग्रेट कर रहे हैं, देखिए जब
Why have you not invited the president? Just answer that. उसका कारण बता दीजिए ना देश को.
You boycott at home program of the President of India. You have boycotted at home program.
No. I want to ask, and I'll end with this. I want to ask Rohan this. When the Manipur Assembly building was inaugurated a few years ago, it was inaugurated by the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. When the Tamil Nadu State Assembly, the new complex, was inaugurated a few years ago, it was inaugurated by Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi. Neither the governor was inaugurating at that time, nor was anybody else inaugurating. So it's okay for the Prime Minister in the UPA era to go around inaugurating state assemblies. What is wrong with the current Prime Minister inaugurating the new Parliament building?
See, Zaka, the issue is not against Mr. Modi attending the function or that. Like Mr. Rakesh Sinha was saying that everybody is against Mr. Modi. He's talking about the President of the country. He's talking against Mr. Modi. What absurd arguments he's giving? We are not against Mr. Modi. We are not saying that why he's attending the function. We are just saying, even if you want Mr. Modi to inaugurate, at least invite the citizen of the country. What stops you from that? Absolutely absurd. There is no logic of not inviting the president of the country who is in the country on that day.
Okay.
There is no logic, Zara.
Professor Sinha, I'll give you the last word. I think Sushmita also asked the same question. So did Rohan. Yeah, your answer, and then I'll wrap up after that. Yeah. Professor Rakesh Sinha.
There is a popular leadership, elected leadership, and elected by the majority and popular in the country. In Indian democracy, it's not, you don't make a mockery. In democracy, the president is a head of the state and symbolic importance.
No answer.
President signs.
No answer.
But it is actually cabinet functions. You are just making institution of represent
going round and round, but no answer.
Okay, I got to wrap up. Thank you very much to Professor Rakesh Sinha, Sushmita Dev, Rohan Gupta, and of course Mr. Krishna of the TSRCP. We'll see how this plays out in the round for Sunday. I'm very clear about certain things. A new parliament, like I said at the top of yesterday's show, and I continue to insist, a new parliament is not just of the ruling party, it's not just of this current dispensation, it is for posterity. It is for Indian democracy. There will be generations of parliamentarians who will sit in that building, bills will be debated, bills will be rejected. This is about an institution. This is about India as a democracy. Yes, the opposition has a point in why the president was not invited, why the president is not the one who's inaugurating. Maybe they have a point, but to boycott a function of national importance, where it's not just about one party, the current ruling party or the current opposition party, it is absolutely doesn't make any sense that they should reduce this function of national importance to some kind of petty party politics, as it were.